Every year, the Fat Controller chooses one of his engines to collect the Sodor School sports team for the annual football match. Last year, James was chosen. This year, the Fat Controller had decided that Thomas would take the Sodor football team to the match. But when Thomas arrived in the yard, he saw that James was decorated in the Sodor team colours. "Hello, Thomas," said James. "Don't the Sodor team colours look splendid on me?" "But I'm supposed to be taking the Sodor team," cried Thomas. "Anyway, you took the team last year." "There was a change of plans," replied James. The yard foreman then spoke to Thomas's driver. "Neville was supposed to take a goods train from Brendan Ducks to Netford Station," he said, "but he's broken down, so the Fat Controller has asked for Thomas to take it, as Edward is collecting the mainline team and everyone else is too busy." "But why can't James take it?" asked Thomas. "It's not like he had anything better to do." "Never mind," said Thomas's driver. "Let's get going and collect Neville's goods train." Thomas was disappointed. The line to Brendan Docks went past the football pitch. Thomas had secretly decided to convince James to take Neville's goods train so that he could take the Sodor team instead. But no matter what he tried, James continuously refused. Not even the reflection in the lake could make James change his mind. In fact, he thought the Sodor team colours looked splendid on him. "I look just as grand as I did last year," James said as he puffed along. On his way to Brendan Docks, Thomas had to stop beside a signal box. The signalman then changed the points. But he didn't know that James was coming along and had accidentally sent James through an overgrown siding. "Ouch!" exclaimed James as the bushes scratched over the flags. "Oh no!" cried Thomas. "We better see what has become of James," said his driver. Thomas puffed forward and was shocked when he saw what had happened. "Cinders and ashes!" he cried. "Are you all right?" called Thomas's driver to James's crew. "Oh, we're all right," replied James's driver, "but the colours aren't." And he was right. The green and white flags of the Sodor team had all been torn and ripped. "The Sodor team colours are ruined," groaned James. "I'll go for help," said Thomas, and he puffed on his way. But he hadn't gone far when he saw Bertie. His radiator was steaming. "What's the matter?" asked Thomas. "The children should be at the match by now. You're late." "I feel dreadful," moaned Bertie. "All upset inside again, and driver says he can't make me better in time for the match. Thank goodness you came along when you did. Can you take the children, please? They'll never get to the match otherwise." "Of course," agreed Thomas. "And," he went on, as he saw the children carrying flags and wearing scarves of the Sodor team, "I can help James too." "But first we must collect Neville's goods train," reminded his driver. "That's already running late as it is." Thomas then set off back on his way to Brendan Docks. Edward had just arrived at the sports team from the mainland as Thomas puffed in. "It's going to be an exciting match," Edward told Thomas. "We've got a good team this year, and I've heard that the mainland team have too. See you at the match." "Sure thing, Edward," replied Thomas, and he puffed quickly up to Knapford. Come along, he fussed. "Don't be in such a rush, rumbled the trucks. Thomas soon arrived at Knapford, where the Fat Controller was waiting for him. He looked very cross. "Thomas, this train is late," he said. "You were supposed to be here half an hour ago. Where have you been?" "I'm sorry, sir," replied Thomas. He then told him about James's incident, Bertie breaking down, and finally his idea to help them both out. The Fat Controller couldn't be cross. In fact, his face beamed with a smile. "Well done, Thomas," he said at last. "That's a brilliant idea. As a reward, you will get to take the Sodor sports team next year. That's a promise I will certainly keep. But right now, you had best hurry. The match is due to start soon." Once Thomas had collected Annie and Clarabelle, he picked up the children from Bertie and took them to the siding to help James. The children enjoyed decorating James with their flags and scarves. "Thank you, Thomas," James said to him. Thomas felt better for helping James rather than trying to convince him to change his mind. At long last, James arrived at the football ground. Everyone cheered when they saw how splendid he looked. "I've changed my mind," he said to his driver. "I actually look better than last year." "I think you do too," replied his driver. Soon Thomas arrived. "You know what, James?" he said. "The Fat Controller promised me that he'd let me pull the Sodor team next year." "That's a good promise to keep," replied James. "But only on one condition, though." "What's that, then?" asked Thomas. "Only if you can get to the yard first." "Oh, James!" Thomas chuckled happily.